Well, Ryan, how does it feel to officially be in the BYU record books with the longest punt in BYU football history?
It feels pretty cool. I didn't know it at the time, but yeah, I found that out. So that's an honor. That's pretty cool.
We've talked with quarterbacks in the past, and you hear obviously about quarterbacks being able to throw it 70 yards, 80 yards. You just boomed an 83-yard punt. If you had the right conditions, how far do you think you could punt a football?
Uh, if you had the right, are you talking about in the air or with the roll and everything?
I guess in the air and also with the roll, I guess you have wind at your back, all that factored in.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, obviously, it's a little different. If there's wind behind you, it's not going to turn over as well. If you're going into a headwind, obviously, it's just not going to travel as far. So, I'd say the conditions during the game were pretty much as ideal as it gets. So, uh, maybe a little bit further than the one I hit, but that was about as clean as they come, honestly.
Mitch and then Jay.
Ryan, when did you take on punting in your football career growing up as a kid?
Just like growing up, we would always toss around the football and stuff, and we try and kick it. But it really didn't start until high school that kind of took it seriously. And so I said a lot before, but my older brother, he started it in high school, followed in his footsteps, and so really since like freshman year, have really kind of dived deep into that and just kind of trying to perfect the craft.
And how do you feel like you've progressed in trying to perfect the craft? Because, how do you feel like you've progressed, and what do you credit as some of the influences in your career so far?
Yeah, I'd say obviously there's always going to be room for improvement. But I mean, looking back to where I've started to where I am now, it's funny because I'll record it a lot just during the summers, seeing how the form is. And so looking back at when I first started to now, obviously there's a big improvement. And I would really credit that to my older brother, to my dad. They've just been right there along the way. Whenever I'm having a little bit of struggles, I just ask them, hey, what's off with this? What's looking different? And so they do a great job of just being able to see where I'm at, and they know my potential. They help me get there.
Hey, Ryan, I know you're familiar with the term outkick your coverage. A lot of people use it when describing your life partner.
Yeah.
But what does that ever come up in? I don't want to throw a wet blanket on what you've done because it's been phenomenal. Yeah. But are you ever told to tone it back a little bit?
Absolutely. There's a time and a place, and I think there is definitely a lot of that falls on me. I mean, if it's going to go far, I need to make sure it's also high in the air so our gunners have time to get down there. And so, again, always room for improvement. There's been a couple times where I've gotten the distance that I might have wanted, but maybe not quite the hang time. And so there's kind of a gray area in between the 30 and the 45-yard line in opponent's territory where, I mean, obviously you don't want to just kick a touchback, but you really want to hang it up there and try and pin them back inside the 20. So I think that's definitely an area that I can improve, and especially in practice this week, I think we're gonna work a lot on that.
Pat, go ahead.
Hey, thanks for taking the time. I think you have some 50-yard field goals to your credit. When did you decide to be a punter over a field goal kicker, and was that ever consideration too, maybe being a dual kicker?
Yeah, I mean, I did it all in high school, and I really enjoyed it. As I've kind of gone on, I definitely knew that I had more of a punter's body than a kicker's body. Not that there's a huge difference, but I've always just naturally kind of leaned towards punting. And so, I mean, there was definitely consideration of that, and I still work on it from time to time. But I think, I mean, the way that Jake and Justin this season too, they're just so consistent, and it's kind of allowed me to focus more on that punting aspect. So I'd say, obviously, you still want to keep both skills sharp. But I just know that my ceiling is a lot higher as a punter than it is a kicker.
Okay, last question, Jake.
Okay, Ryan, you mentioned kicker body versus a punter body. You're 6'6", 230 pounds, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
What is the difference between those two types of bodies?
I would say punting is a lot of leverage. And so, I mean, the taller you are, I mean, you just got physics working towards you. I'd say with kicking, it's just a very compact, explosive movement. And so, I mean, you have a lot of big kickers as well. I would just say my body type leans more towards punting than it does kicking, although it's not a big hindrance in kicking or anything like that.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.